Good morning, everyone. Please take your seats. Today, we will have a short plenary to have a quick report back from the contact groups that met yesterday and today morning. So first, I would like to give the floor to one of the co-chairs from the Halon's contact group to report back. Co-chairs of the contact group are Andrew from USA and Ali from Saudi Arabia. Ali, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. First, I would like to thank all members of the contact group for their participations. The contact group began with the CRP presented by the proponents. The parties had the chance to ask and seek for the clarifications from the proponent and ask questions to the TIP. The CRP was presented on the screen in the second half of the contact group, allowing delegates to review the paragraphs. However, we did not have the chance to work through all the texts. Therefore, Madam Co-Chair, if you could find another time for us to continue working on the CRP, it would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I would like to give the floor to one of the co-chairs of the Strengthening MP Contact Group, Jana from Czech Republic, or Chantal from Barbados. Chantal.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. So first, I wish to thank the members of the contact group for their participation yesterday. The contact group met and we were able to have good discussions. A number of the parties were able to put forward their questions to the proponents, discuss areas of challenges and common ground. However, while we did make some progress, we were unable to complete our work within the time, so we would request additional time to further our discussions and complete our work. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I turn to Atmospheric Monitoring Contact Group, Alessandro from Italy, and Liana, if you could take Liana.
Good morning, everybody. Our contact group quite efficiently had the second session, for which I would like to thank all the members of the contact group. And we've proceeded quite significantly. We made a good progress and cleared the first two paras of the operational paragraphs of the CRP, but we would need additional time to continue this work in the same spirit, so we would appreciate a lot if additional time is provided. Thank you.
Thank you, Liana. We will announce the meeting schedule for these contact groups later. And now I would like to hand over to my co-chair, Ralph.
Thank you, Miruza. And first, I would like to congratulate all my English colleagues for the gain in the match yesterday. So, and also, let's say Argentina and Colombia will play in the Copa Americana. So that's also an interesting match to watch. Then going to the group on feedstock, the informal group that also met. So I would like to ask Michelle or Leslie, but I think that Leslie from Grenada will report back. Please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Co-Chair, and good morning, colleagues. The informal group on feedstock met this morning at 8:45, and we want to say a special thank you to the members for coming out that early to engage in the discussions of the group. We were very encouraged, the co-chairs are very encouraged by the level of participation and discussion that we had in the contact group, and we believe that we've made some advancements on the issue. We're very thankful that the TIAP was in the room to take some of the questions and to offer clarifications, but we recognize also the need for the SAP to be in the room, so we're hoping that to continue the discussions within the group. As a matter of fact, the members of the group agreed that at our next meeting, if so granted, we would look at various elements of the CRP, so we would engage in discussions on the text. And so in this regard, we would want to ask you, co-chairs and the Secretariat, if you would be able to provide some additional time for us to continue our work and to look at some of the text of the CRP. So we're hoping that that will be granted and we will be able to continue our work. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this positive report back, and I understand that you also need the SAP in the room, so I think that's quite important. And as was mentioned just by Miruza, we will announce the groups and when they can meet and the time slots later on. So, but your request can be granted. So. Then I would like to go to agenda item 9. It's the compliance deferral, and CRP has been uploaded by several parties. It's Bahrain, India, Kuwait, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. And I don't know who will make the introduction, but I see India on my list. So India, please, you have the floor to introduce the CRP.
Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair. Good morning to all. We are pleased to introduce the CRP submitted by Bahrain, India, Kuwait, Qatar, and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia under agenda item 9. Mr. Co-Chair, parties may recall decision 28/2 related to the phase down of HFCs. Para 5 of the decision was agreed after extensive deliberations and considering the specific challenges related to not only the availability but also adoption of low or lower GWP alternatives in countries, particularly with high ambient temperature conditions. Parties may also recall Para 36 and 37 related to consideration by the Implementation Committee and the MOP, defer compliance status of parties operating under HAT condition for multi-split, split ducted and ducted commercial package air conditioner upon a specific request by affected parties. Considering the specific challenges for a group of countries, parties to the Montreal Protocol for the first time under the Kigali Amendment agreed for different HFC phase down scheduled for Article 5 parties as well as the non-Article 5 parties. Mr. Co-Chair, we heard some delegation stating that the TEEP, both through the annual progress reports as well as the quadrennial assessment reports, has been providing updates on alternative in various sectors and subsectors, including RACHP sector. However, it is important to note that the unique challenges faced by the Group 2 countries in adopting these technologies, particularly in large capacity air conditioning system, including for household uses, are not being adequately addressed. The review and the information in the 2024 progress report was specific to Para 5 of Decision 28/2, which still shows that the challenges remain for these countries, particularly in the RAC sector. While low or lower GWP technologies are evolving and with rise in global temperatures, several Group 2 countries have been experiencing unprecedented heat waves and significant rise in summer temperature, resulting in excessive load on operations of air conditioning system, especially when they need to be operated for large duration to cater to the cooling needs. This may also have technology as well as design implications for countries. Mr. Co-Chair, sustainability of low or lower GWP options present an overarching challenge which has been highlighted by the TEEP in the different part of the report. We would like to reiterate that availability of alternatives, including cooling technologies, and the effectiveness in terms of cooling efficiency, accessibility, affordability, and reliability of sustainable low or lower GWP-based technologies continue to be critical consideration. There is a need for a sustainable approach for transition in RSE industry in these countries. Mr. Co-Chair, considering the above TEEP updates specific to the challenges in Group 2 countries and distinguishing factor region-wise becoming very relevant to have a realistic appreciation of issues. Accordingly, the CRP has been submitted for consideration by the parties. We are conscious of workload of TEEP and do not request a separate report. We are only requesting a separate section in an annual progress report specific to the explained challenges associated with the Group 2 countries. We will now introduce these elements in the CRP. Preambular paras 1 and 2 relate to recalling the decision 28/2 requesting TEEP for review specific to Article 5 countries and appreciating the TEEP for the information in 2024 progress report. Regarding para 3, it is important to note that there has been a significant increase in cooling demand, particularly with rising temperature in Group 2 countries across sectors such as building, cold chain, refrigeration, and transport. Refrigerants used in cooling equipment are addressed under the Montreal Protocol regime, and this aspect needs to be addressed holistically, both in terms of energy efficiency in specific applications covering value chains of different sectors and efficient use of the RSE equipment. Operating Para 1 requests to address the following: challenges and barriers in terms of availability, accessibility, and adoption in Article 5 parties with particular emphasis on Article 5 Group 2 parties. Second, standards for alternative refrigerants as well as equipment taking into consideration the capacity of equipment in different countries. Third, market structure including supply chain issues. Fourth, pathway for promoting adoption in Article 5 countries with particular emphasis on Article 5 Group 2 parties. Operating Para 2 requests the TEEP in its 2027 progress report to conduct assessments by reason of the cost of adoption for Article 5 parties, considering the element listed in paragraph 1 to take a view on the issue at that point of time. The co-proponents of the CRP, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia may wish to add some additional point. Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair.
Thank you. And then the next speaker on my list is Bahrain. And please indicate if you would like to speak. So Bahrain first.
شكرا. Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair. Good morning, everyone. I would like, first of all, to thank my colleague, the delegate of India, for the clear presentation of this document presented by our countries. In fact, it's an extension of what we mentioned yesterday when it comes to the challenge that these countries face, especially Group 2 of Article 5 countries that truly struggle with huge challenges, especially in air conditioning. The goal, as clarified by my colleague, and I don't want to be repeating it, is to reach a clear decision in order to give a true opportunity to recognize the challenges in Group 2 and to have a special section within the TEEP report, and not a different report, the same report, but a separate section for this issue. I would like to invite all the parties to consider this document and to help our countries to identify these challenges and reach results that would match the challenges that we live. Thank you so much, Mr. Co-Chair.
Thank you. And the next speaker on my list is Brazil, but please push the button if you would like to speak on this item. So, Brazil, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Co-Chair, and good morning, colleagues. In fact, we would like to thank Bahrain, India, Kuwait, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia for presenting this CRP. In fact, all A5 parties are facing challenges in terms of availability of alternatives, which is especially felt by Group 2 countries. And so we appreciate the fact that we are able to discuss this matter further, and also that in paragraph 2, there is a mention of the regional perspective, which, as we know, and in many other agenda items, this issue has been raised. Dependent on the region, we have different availability of alternatives for a range of substances. And so we are interested into discussing the CRP in the setting and the format that you co-chairs find most convenient. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I have Canada on my list. Canada, please.
Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair, and we like to thank India for presenting this CRP, as well as the other proponents, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. At first blush, we think it addresses relevant issues and reflects, some of the questions and concerns that we've heard from Group 2 countries yesterday and other Article 5 countries as well. So certainly it's a CRP that would be interested to discuss. Just some quick observations. Based on what's being requested in the CRP, we're not sure, about the title of it, draft decision on possible compliance deferral. Because really in terms of what's being requested is really information, technical information on alternatives. And maybe that could be thought about a little bit more. The other issue is, would be interested to understand when it refers to annual progress report, would that be starting with the 2025 progress report? Because we've been hearing in relation to other decisions that the TEEP will be starting its quadrennial assessment report next year, and that we should be careful not to overload the TEEP with requesting a significant amount of new information, which could actually be better placed within the quadrennial assessments. That doesn't mean that we should not be requesting anything for the 2025 progress report, but I guess it's just a matter of, assessing, what is the scale of work, that would involve. Because what we heard yesterday was that there was a need for a lot more detailed information, and we're not sure if it starts with 2025, we're not sure how much new information we're going to get. And then also with paragraph 2, I guess we'd like to better understand what is meant by conducting assessments by regions. So again, we appreciate that the timeline for that is 2027. So, it's something that the TEEP would have quite a bit of time to undertake. But again, depending on what's envisaged in the scope of such an assessment, the TEEP may or may not have the resources to undertake it, even if it's 2027. The TEEP, consists of members that are undertaking this work, really not being remunerated, and don't have necessarily a budget to be conducting actual, assessments on the ground, of different regions. On the other hand, we're sure that they could actually do something with this. It's just a matter of trying to understand a little bit better what the expectation would be here. So But overall, as I said, we think it's an interesting proposal, and we're interested in discussing it with the proponents and other parties. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have two speakers now on my list, Australia, United States. And I would like to request, if others would like to speak, please indicate it now. And otherwise, I would like to close the list. So I don't see any news. I see one new speaker, so it's Australia, United States, and Micronesia. And then I would like to close the list. Australia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Co-Chair, and good morning to colleagues. We too would like to thank India for introduction of this CRP on behalf of the 5 countries who are sponsoring it. We have had a brief chance to review it, and we understand that it follows on from the concerns and issues that some of the Article 5 parties had expressed in plenary yesterday in relation to the TEEP report that had been presented under paragraph 5 of Decision 28.2. We actually, I think, agree with many of the sentiments that had been expressed by the distinguished delegate from Canada. I think that one of the additional issues we would like to just reflect a little on is that the freeze date for Group 2 countries is actually 2028, and that in fact the assessment, the TEEP will be undertaking an assessment in accordance with Decision 28.2 in 2027. So I guess that we just also had a question about timing, not only in terms of the capacity of the TEEP to undertake additional work as has been suggested here, but also in terms of the timing and whether in fact doing an assessment of this sort in 2025 would be particularly useful, given that the freeze date for Article 5 Group 2 countries is only in 2028. So that's something we'd like to reflect on a little bit more, and we will be, of course, happy to discuss the CRP further, however the co-chairs determine. Thank you.
Thank you. Then the United States, please.
Good morning, and thank you very much, Mr. Co-Chair. We did take a quick look at the decision, and I don't want to repeat what others have said. There are some interesting requests in here, and we understand and can the sentiment that is being expressed. We have a couple of questions, though, to make sure we're not repeating requests to the TEEP. So for us, we'd want to make sure, for example, some of the requests in paragraph 1 are not things that the TEEP would already provide in their annual progress report. For example, we noted some information the TEEP provided on supply chain and other topics that are listed here. So we do want to make sure we're not asking the TEEP to do something that they would already be doing. Perhaps that's something we could reflect on with the proponents to the decision. We're also cognizant of the timing, and in particular, if we recall correctly, they have both a quadrennial assessment report in 2026. They also have the separate request that is a separate ask in Decision 28.2 for a 5-year report on alternatives to HFCs, which we understood would be coming to the parties already in 2027. So we do wonder if there isn't some streamlining that could be done where perhaps rather than request a new separate report in the progress report, which, just to remind parties, usually the progress report is almost a compendium of separate responses that the TEEP provides. There may be a way to perhaps streamline this and make sure if the information is not already being covered by the TEEP in those to the 2026 assessment report and the 2027 response already from Decision 28-2 on alternatives to HFCs, perhaps there's a way that we could streamline this to just be more of a direction that the TEEP would include this in those two reports already. And then on the more general matter of what is provided in the annual progress report, just to, again, make sure that if it's something the TEEP is already providing, we're not, again, asking them to provide what they'd already be prepared to share with us as parties. We're happy to discuss this with the proponents again, but I think from our point of view, we just want to make sure we're not asking for things that we have already asked for. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last one on my list is Micronesia. Please, you have the floor.
Good morning, Mr. Co-Chair and colleagues. We wish to thank the proponents of the CRP for putting forward their proposal. We are interested to understand better the particular challenges of Group 2 countries and how they differ from other Article 5 parties. Like the distinguished delegate from Brazil, we also find that the regional information and consideration would be valuable to the work of the protocol. In fact, we think that many of the requests in this draft decision would be very valuable for all A5 parties. We look forward to further discussing this draft decision at this meeting. Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair.
Thank you. And after heard all the responses to this CRP, our proposal is to establish a contact group, and also on this one, and that's also the time and the venue will be indicated later on. Now, I first would like to give Meg the floor for a short farewell, and then Mirusa will give a clarity on how the contact groups and informal groups will be planned today. Meg, please.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair, for giving me the floor. I just want to make a short statement on Bernhard of GIZ. I would like to inform everyone that our dear colleague Bernhard Ziegele is leaving the Montreal Protocol family to transfer to another position within GIZ. After having served as the head of GIZ Proclima for 12 years, he has been leading the GIZ team as bilateral implementing agency of the Multilateral Fund, and he led the development and implementation of projects in India, China, and Papua New Guinea, as well as in Iran and Afghanistan in the past. Bernhard is a gentle, soft-spoken, and patient person, very professional with a lot of technical knowledge. At the same time, he is a very determined, quite fearless person with a lot of innovative ideas. So many projects and MLF activities benefited from all his skills and knowledge. On behalf of the Ozone family, I would like to thank Bernhard for his dedication, commitment, and all his contributions to the Montreal Protocol. Thank you very much to Bernhard. He will be very much missed by all of us. Bernhard will be leaving the meeting today, so delegates and colleagues who have worked closely with him over the years can still try to catch him today, to wish him well for the next stage in his professional life. Thank you.
Thank you, Meg. Grenada, are you asking for the floor? Yes, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Co-Chair, and I know this may not be the protocol now, but it would be remiss of me if I don't comment on the Executive Secretary's last recognition of Bernard. And I'm saying that because it was 12 years ago in this very same building, I met Bernard at a cocktail reception. And I want to say that on behalf of the National Ozone Unit of Grenada, we are eternally grateful for the unwavering support that we received from Bernard and his other colleague from GIZ is also transitioning over the past decade. As a matter of fact, the technical and financial assistance that was provided through GIZ Proclaimer to Grenada has been invaluable and has really enabled us to make significant strides in protecting the ozone layer, particularly with the green cooling initiatives that we've undertaken with GIZ Proclaimer. That partnership, cooperation, and friendship that we've engendered over the years provided us with invaluable resources that we needed to remain inspired and empowered to continue our goals. So we are deeply grateful for their commitment and the positive impact that they've had on our work in our country, and that we want to say a special thanks to Bernard and his team for their continued support and for believing in our mission in Grenada. We always recognized that we needed additional financial and technical resources to augment our Montreal Protocol programs, and Bernard has been very, very instrumental in allowing us to do that. So we want to bid him farewell as he transitions and hope that he does not become a stranger to us and that we will continue in our fruitful relationship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Grenada. And from the co-chairs, we would like to thank Bernard and also wish you best of luck. So today we will devote the rest of the day to the meetings of the contact groups and informal groups. So I will now announce the contact group schedule. You will also see the schedule later, maybe on the screen as well. So first in the morning, we have from 10:45 to 11:45 contact groups on MDI. Henry from Switzerland and Idris from Nigeria will be the co-chairs of this contact group. And from 11:45 to 12:45, we'll have informal group on, it will be a contact group on Group 2 compliance referral, and co-chairs will be Cornelius from EU and Anna Maria from Micronesia. You can also see the schedule now on the screen, and we will have contact groups on unwanted equipment, contact group on halons, contact group on strengthening MP, and informal group on HFC 23 Form 23, and as well as contact group on VSLS today. Contact group on unwanted equipment, co-chairs will be Moran from France and Linda from Kenya. And for the halons group, which has already met, will be Andrew from USA and Ali from Saudi Arabia. And strengthening MP also have already met, Jana from Czech Republic and Chantale from Barbados. And contact group on HFC 23 Form 3, it's going to be an informal group, Martin from Netherlands and Obed from South Africa. And for the other contact groups, contact group on monitoring and informal group on feedstocks will be tomorrow, and we will show it on the screen as well. So with this, we will close today's plenary, and we will see everyone tomorrow morning. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful discussion in the contact groups. Thank you.